My mother-in-law thought I was asleep and whispered, "I'll just take the keys." But when she opened my drawer, she froze. "No, what is this?" I stayed still because what she discovered that night would change everything. I heard her breathing before I heard her footsteps. That's the detail I keep coming back to. The breathing. Careful. Measured. The specific rhythm of someone who is trying very hard to make no sound at all and has not considered that silence, when you're listening for it, is its own kind of noise. It was 2:09 a.m. I know the exact time because the clock on my nightstand was the first thing I had looked at when I heard the bedroom door push open, and I had made the deliberate choice not to move, not to tighten, not to let a single muscle in my body change, because I had been waiting 3 weeks for this exact moment, and I was not going to waste it by flinching. Carmen moved across my bedroom floor with the careful steps of a woman who believed she was performing a kindness. She leaned over me, close enough that I could smell her perfume, the heavy floral one she wore to feel formal, that she had worn to my wedding 4 years ago, when she had held my hands and told me, with the specific warmth of a woman who has already made up her mind about you, that she hoped I would make her son happy. She checked my breathing. I kept it even, slow, the breathing of a woman sound asleep. She reached past me. She opened the nightstand drawer. And then there was silence of a very different kind. The silence of someone who has found something they were not prepared to find. The silence of a story rearranging itself in real time. Then, the soft, dry sound of photographs hitting hardwood floor. Then her voice. Carmen's voice. The voice that had spent 4 years telling me I cooked with too much salt and asked too many questions and didn't understand how her son needed to be handled. Cracking, like old wood. "My God," she whispered, "this can't be from my son." I opened my eyes. Let me tell you who I was before that night, not who Adrian told people I was. That version of me is a work of fiction I'll get to, but the actual me, the one who had been sitting quietly at dinner tables and holiday gatherings and family barbecues for 4 years, watching and listening and eventually collecting. My name is Lucia. I'm 34. I have a daughter named Valentina who was 3 years old at the time of this story and who is the reason every single decision I made in the months leading up to that night was the right one. I am a paralegal, have been for 9 years at a family law firm in the city, and if you understand what a paralegal at a family law firm actually does, the documentation, the evidence organization, the deep and functional understanding of exactly how badly a financial betrayal can damage a person's legal standing, then you will understand why Adrian made a catastrophic miscalculation when he decided I was someone who could be managed. I met Adrian when I was 28. He was charming in the way that some men are charming, effortlessly, and with the specific quality of making you feel chosen. He was attentive, he was funny, he called when he said he would and showed up where he promised to be, and said the things that, at 28, you do not yet know to be suspicious of because you haven't learned that some men perform reliability the way an actor performs a role, accurately, consistently, and without feeling a single word of it. We got married after 2 years. Valentina came 14 months later. I went back to work when she was 4 months old because we needed the income, and because honestly, because I needed the structure of a world that operated on documentation and verifiable fact. Carmen, his mother, 61, retired school administrator, the kind of woman who runs every room she enters through the simple force of having an opinion about everything in it, had been a presence in our marriage from the beginning. Not aggressive, not unkind, just constant. A gravitational pull in the shape of a mother-in-law who loved her son with the blind, total certainty of someone who had decided, somewhere around his adolescence, that he was exceptional and had never updated that conclusion with available evidence. She came to dinner every Sunday. She gave advice that wasn't requested. She moved things in my kitchen. Small things. The kind of things you couldn't complain about without sounding unreasonable. The olive oil by the stove. The dish rack on the wrong side of the sink. The framed photo of my grandmother relocated from the shelf above the TV to a drawer because it cluttered the visual flow, which I only discovered 3 weeks after it happened because I had assumed I'd misplaced it. I let all of it go because Valentina adored her, and because I was, at that point, still committed to the project of making the marriage work. I did not know, at that point, what the marriage was actually costing me. The first sign came 11 months before the night of the drawer. I was reviewing our joint bank statements, something I did monthly because I am a paralegal, and documenting financial reality is a reflex. And I noticed a payment, $1,400, to a lender I didn't recognize, from our joint account. Recurring, as in it had happened 3 times, which meant I had missed it twice, which told me I had been looking at these statements with less attention than I thought. I asked Adrian about it at dinner. He was calm. He had an answer ready. Refinancing an old car loan, consolidating some rates, paperwork he'd handled to simplify things. Nothing I needed to worry about. I told myself he was probably right. He had always handled the car loans. I hated that kind of administrative task and had been grateful for years to let him manage it. I told myself it was nothing, but I noted the lender's name. Wrote it down on a post-it I stuck inside the back cover of my work notebook, in the section where I keep reference information I might need later. Old paralegal habit. The second sign came 6 weeks after that. A letter arrived addressed to both of us. I opened it because Adrian wasn't home, and because our names were on it, and because I opened letters as as a general rule, because I am an adult who has read enough case files to know that important things arrive by mail and are routinely ignored by people who then claim they didn't know. It was a loan statement, not for the car loan, not for the mortgage, for something else entirely. A personal loan from a private lending institution, originated 8 months prior in the amount of $94,000, with our apartment listed as collateral. Our apartment, Valentina's home, the 2-bedroom in the building near the park that I had negotiated the price on, that I had fought for the mortgage terms on, that I had put $14,000 of my own savings into as the down payment because Adrian's savings at the time had been, as he explained it, tied up in ways that would take a few months to resolve. $94,000, secured against our home, 8 months old, which meant it had been originated when I was still nursing Valentina through her ear infections and working half days to catch up on my caseload, when I was tired in the specific way that makes you trust people more than you should because you have no bandwidth left for suspicion. I put the letter down on the kitchen table. I looked at it for a long time. My hands were completely still. I want to be clear about that. I have read enough stories and case files about this kind of betrayal to know that the body sometimes does unexpected things. Shaking, nausea, the physical symptoms of a system going into shock. Mine went very quiet. Like every non-essential function suspended itself so I could concentrate. I read the letter again. The signature page was attached. My signature was on it. I have a very specific signature. It's the kind that develops over years of signing legal documents hundreds of times a month. Distinctive, particular, with a Lucia that leans left and a capital R that has a loop I've had since I learned cursive. You could not mistake it if you knew it. What was on that signature page was a reasonable imitation. Someone had practiced. Someone had gotten it mostly right, but I know my own signature, and it was not mine. I did not confront Adrian that night.
This is the part people find hardest to understand when I tell this story. Why I didn't go straight to him, letter in hand, demand an explanation, process the betrayal in real time the way you're supposed to, the way every instinct was probably telling me to. Here is why. I am a paralegal at a family law firm.
I have spent 9 years watching people confront their spouses the moment they find evidence, watch the evidence disappear or be explained away, and then sit across from my boss 8 months later with nothing documentable and a story that a mediocre attorney will dismantle in 45 minutes. I have watched women lose. Not because they weren't right, because they moved too soon. I put the loan statement in my work bag. I went to work the next morning and sat down with Renata Solis, my supervising attorney, 19 years in family and civil litigation, the kind of lawyer who has heard every version of every story and reacts to all of them with the same methodical calm, and I told her what I had found, not crying, not asking for sympathy, laying out the facts in order with the dates. Renata listened without interrupting. Then she asked 2 questions, whether I had the original loan documents and whether I had any reason to believe additional instruments had been executed. I told her about the payment I had flagged 11 months ago. She picked up her pen. Start collecting, she said. Don't move yet. Don't tip him off. And Lucia, document everything. Timestamps, originals, chain of possession. You know how. I knew how. I went home that evening and started. The envelope lived in my nightstand drawer for 3 weeks. I built it the way I build case files, methodically, without emotion in the construction, saving the emotion for later when it could be useful rather than expensive. Bank statements, printed and highlighted. The original loan letter with the forged signature. A second loan document I found when I went looking properly. A refinancing instrument, originated 4 months after the first, that had rolled the original $94,000 into a larger structure that I won't state the full number of here, because it still makes something in my chest do something unpleasant. I requested our credit report under both names. What it showed me required me to sit down. 3 instruments, all within 14 months, all bearing my signature, all secured in various creative configurations against our apartment, our joint accounts, and, in the third one, the most recent one, the one that made my vision go briefly white around the edges, against a life insurance policy that had been in my name for 6 years and that I had not known had been submitted as collateral because I had not known it was possible to do that without the policyholder's knowledge. It is not technically possible to do that without the policyholder's signature. He had my signature. I also found the hotel receipt. I wasn't looking for it, not specifically, not in the way of a woman hunting for an affair, because the financial betrayal had already consumed the bandwidth I might otherwise have used for that particular species of heartbreak. But I was going through the joint credit card statements systematically, and there it was, the Palomar Hotel, downtown, 14 months ago, 2 nights. The amount was not large, the amount was not the point. The point was the timeline. 14 months ago was when the first loan was originated. The hotel stay was 3 days before the signing date. I printed it, dated it, added it to the envelope. I thought about my daughter. I went back to work. I had noticed Carmen's behavior changing approximately 6 weeks before the night. She was coming over more often, not just Sundays, but midweek, always with reasons. She would bring food or offer to watch Valentina or arrive to help with something that I had not asked for help with and did not need. I accepted her presence without comment because the visits gave me information I found useful. She was looking for something, not aggressively, carefully. Her eyes moved through our apartment the way eyes move when they're searching. Small, systematic sweeps that probably looked like casual attention to anyone who wasn't watching for them. She checked counters. She opened the hall closet under the pretense of finding extra hangers. She looked at at my desk when she thought I was in the other room. One afternoon, I came out of Valentina's room to find her standing in the doorway of the bedroom with an expression she covered quickly. "I thought I heard you call," she said. "I didn't," I said. She smiled. I smiled. We were both performing. I understand now that Adrian had told her the keys were in my drawer. Keys was his word for the evidence. I know this because I found the text thread later in the discovery process and read the whole conversation with the particular sick clarity of someone who has been careful and is now being proven correct. She keeps everything in the nightstand. The keys are in there. I need them before she moves. He meant the loan documents, the photographs, everything I had collected. He knew I was collecting. He didn't know how much I had. He didn't know how long I'd been doing it. He knew the rough shape of what I had, and he needed it gone before I could get it to an attorney, so he sent his mother, and I let her come the night itself. Adrian had left at 9 p.m. "A work thing," he said with the specific vagueness of a man who has stopped bothering to construct detailed lies because he has mistaken your silence for incuriosity. Carmen had stayed after dinner, helping with Valentina's bath, something she occasionally did, and that I had never minded. She stayed later than usual. She said she was tired and asked if I minded if she rested on the couch for a while before driving home. I said of course. I put Valentina to bed. I went through my bedtime routine with particular deliberateness, washing my face, changing into my nightgown, moving through the apartment in the visible, routine way of a woman who is ending her day with nothing on her mind. I left the bedroom door open about 4 inches. I left the lamp on at its lowest setting because I sometimes read before sleep and it would look normal. I lay down. I did not sleep. At 1:47 a.m., I heard Carmen get up from the couch. I heard her check on Valentina, the soft sound of that door opening and closing, the small pause, the door clicking shut again. Something in me noted this. Even then, even in the middle of everything, she checked on the child. Then she came to my room. When I opened my eyes, she jumped backward and pressed the envelope to her chest. Not her envelope, mine. The envelope I had built over 3 weeks of careful, systematic documentation that she had found when she opened my drawer looking for keys and discovered instead the entire evidentiary record of what her son had done. 2 photographs had fallen to the floor when she startled. She looked at them. I looked at them. Neither of us moved. "Since you're already in my things," I said, sitting up slowly, "go ahead and finish." My voice was even. I had practiced this moment in my head enough times that it came out the way I needed it to. Not cold, not angry, not the shaking voice of a woman who has been wronged and wants everyone to feel it. The measured voice of a woman who has already decided what happens next and is simply allowing the present to catch up. Carmen looked down at the photos on the floor. The first was a printout of the loan contract. The first one, the $94,000, with the signature page visible and the date, and the mortgage on our apartment listed as collateral in language that was clear to anyone with basic reading comprehension. The second was the hotel printout, with Adrian's name on the reservation and a woman's name on the secondary guest registration that neither of us recognized, and the date 3 days before the first loan signing. Carmen said, "This could have an explanation." I looked at her. "It does," I said. "Your son stole from me. He put your granddaughter's home at risk to cover debts I didn't know existed, and tonight he sent you to take the evidence before I could use it." Her hands were shaking. She sat down in my vanity chair, slowly, the way people sit when their legs have made a decision before their brain has, and she held the envelope and looked at the floor. I want to tell you that I felt satisfaction in that moment. I want to say it felt like the exhale after holding your breath for 11 months. Mostly it felt like grief for what I'd thought we were building. For Valentina, who was asleep 20 feet away and had no idea that the floor of her life was being reassembled without her knowledge. For Carmen, honestly, who had loved her son through 40 years of him being exactly who he was and was only now, in my bedroom at 2 in the morning, being forced to see it clearly. Then her phone rang. Adrian's name on the screen. She hit speaker. I don't know if it was reflex or if it was something she decided in the half second before she pressed the button. Some part of her that had already begun to reckon with what she was holding and needed the room to hear it. His voice came through low and tight, the voice he used when he was managing things, when he was the competent one, handling the situation, directing people who needed directing. "Did you get them? Tell me you got them. I need to clear the rest out tomorrow morning before she—" "Your wife is awake," Carmen said. The silence on the line was total. 3 seconds, 4. Then his voice shifted. The management voice replaced by something softer and faster and less controlled. "Mom, listen. Don't start. That woman is trying to destroy everything I've built. She's been planning this for—" I got up from the bed. I walked to Carmen's chair. I leaned toward the phone. "You destroyed yourself, Adrian," I said. 3 times. With 3 different signatures I didn't sign. I have all of them. Another silence. Different quality. The silence of a man running calculations and finding nothing that adds up. Then the voice that I recognized as his most dangerous register. Not the anger, not the management voice, but the soft, reasonable, think about what you're doing voice that had moved me more times than I will ever fully admit to myself, away from things I should have stood on. "Lucia, think about our daughter. Think about what a legal fight does to her life. We can fix this. We don't need lawyers. I will pay it back. All of it. We just need to—" I thought about our daughter, I said. Every single day while I was building that file. I thought about her the day I found the first loan statement. I thought about her when I found the second one. I thought about her when I found the hotel receipt. I paused. She's why I didn't move sooner. She's also why I'm not stopping. Carmen covered her mouth with her free hand. On the phone, Adrian's voice went somewhere I hadn't heard it go before. He had run out out of registers. I called Renata at 2:23 a.m. She answered on the second ring, which told me either she was awake by chance or she had been expecting this call and wanted to be available. I have always thought it was the latter. Renata has good instincts. It happened tonight, I said. Tell me. I gave her the outline, Carmen's entry, the drawer, the phone call, Adrian's admissions on speaker, 3 witnesses to the last part, me, Carmen, and Adrian, who had self-incriminated in clear language with his mother's phone recording the whole thing, which I had noted it was doing because Carmen's phone auto records calls, and I had made sure the recording app was visible and active from the moment she hit speaker. Don't move anything, Renata said. Don't touch the envelope, don't let it leave the room, don't let Carmen take it anywhere. I'll have a courier at your door at 8 a.m. to take originals into evidence hold. Carmen said she'll testify, I said. A pause. Did you record that? My phone has been on since she came in the room, I said. Another pause. The specific pause of an attorney recalibrating upward. Lucia, she said, you are the most prepared client I have never formally retained. I've been taking notes, I said. He rang the doorbell at 2:41 a.m. Of course he did. Because the phone call had not gone the way he needed it to go, and Adrian has never been able to let a situation resolve without inserting himself into it one more time, which is either a personality trait or a pathology, and I am no longer invested in the distinction. He walked in the way he always walked in when he needed something, quickly with the energy of a man who has arrived to fix things, the implicit suggestion of his whole body that the problem is solvable, and he is the one who will solve it. Hair slightly undone, eyes bright with the specific brightness of someone running on adrenaline, and the fading optimism of a gambler who has not yet fully accepted the hand. He looked at Carmen. She was still sitting in the vanity chair, still holding the envelope. She had not moved from that chair in the 30 minutes since she'd sat down. There was an expression on her face that I had never seen on her before. Not guilt exactly, because Carmen was not a woman who arrived at guilt quickly or easily. Something older than guilt. The expression of a woman who has spent 40 years believing in someone and is now doing the arithmetic of what that belief has cost. Adrian looked at his mother and waited for her to help him. She looked away. He pulled papers from his jacket. An actual document, folded, official looking, the kind of presentation that had probably worked on people who were less familiar than I was with what paperwork actually means versus what it is dressed to suggest. A refinancing agreement, new terms, structured to absorb the existing debt and presented as a joint, consensual decision moving forward. He put it on the vanity in front of me. Sign this, he said, tonight. We restructure everything together, we keep the apartment, we protect Valentina, and we deal with the rest privately. I looked at the document. I looked at him. Because of her, I said, I'm not signing one more thing with you. I picked up my phone. I opened my contacts. I called Renata's direct line on speaker. The sound of the call connecting, 2 rings, then her voice, clear and professional at 2:44 in the morning, did something specific to the color in Adrian's face. It left, just drained straight out, leaving something underneath it that was smaller and older and considerably less impressive than the man he had been performing for 4 years. Renata, I said, he's here. He brought a refinancing document and asked me to sign it tonight. Her response was measured and precise and contained the words fraudulent inducement, coercion, and documented pattern in a single sentence, after which she said she was noting the time and date and suggested Adrian leave the premises immediately and contact his own legal representation in the morning. He did not say a word. He picked up his document. He looked at Carmen one more time. She had turned her face fully away from him. That was the thing that moved through his face in the last second before he left. Not my refusal, not Renata's voice, not the envelope or the evidence or the documented 3 years of carefully constructed betrayal. His mother not looking at him. He left without a word. No apology, no final argument, no performance of remorse or innocence or righteous injury. He walked out of my apartment at 2:47 a.m., and the door closed behind him with the quiet, ordinary sound of a man who had finally understood that there was no one left in the room who was afraid of him. Carmen and I sat in the quiet for a moment. Then she called him back. She did not ask for privacy to make the call. She did it right there, in my bedroom, in front of me, and I think that was deliberate. I think she needed a witness to it the way I had needed a witness to everything else. He answered on the first ring. She spoke quietly and without trembling, the voice of a woman who has made up her mind about something large and is not revisiting it. Don't use me again, she said. Not for this, not for anything like this. A pause. If Lucia reports you, and she will, I will tell them everything I know. Every conversation, everything you told me, everything you asked me to do. Another pause. I'm sorry I came here tonight. I'm not sorry for what I found. She ended the call. She set the envelope down on the vanity, very carefully, both hands, like she was setting down something she had been carrying for a long time and was only now, in this room, at this hour, understanding the weight of. She didn't look at me. I didn't know about the loans, she said. I believe you, I said, and I did. I knew something was wrong. She looked at her hands. I told myself it was you, I told myself you were the one making things difficult. She stopped. I wanted it to be you. I didn't say anything. He's my son, she said. It wasn't an excuse. It was just the fact underneath all the other facts, the one that had made every other terrible thing possible. I know, I said. She stood up. She picked up her purse. At the bedroom door, she stopped and turned back, and the expression on her face was the one I will carry forward from that night more than any other. mother. Not the fear when I opened my eyes, not Adrian's face when the color left it, but Carmen's face in the doorway. The specific, exhausted look of a woman who has loved someone her entire life and has just, definitively, stopped lying to herself about what that love has made her do. "You're a good mother," she said. She walked out. Renata filed the initial fraud complaint 8 days later. The documentation we submitted ran to 63 pages. The 3 loan instruments with forged signatures, the comparative signature analysis completed by forensic document examiner Howard Vega, 15 years in questioned document examination, certified by the American Board of Forensic Document Examiners, which concluded with 96% certainty that the signatures on all 3 instruments were not executed by me. The bank statements, the credit report, the hotel receipt, the phone recording of Adrian's call to Carmen, Carmen's own recorded statement given voluntarily to Renata's office 6 days after the night of the drawer. She came in wearing the same perfume she'd worn to my bedroom. She sat across from Renata for 2 hours. She did not minimize. She did not defend. She gave a clear, sequential account of the conversations Adrian had had with her over 14 months, what he had told her about the loans, what he had asked her to do, what she had done, the instructions about the drawer, the specific words he had used. "The keys are in there. I need them before she moves." Her voice was steady throughout. At the end, Renata thanked her and told her she had done the right thing. Carmen looked at the table for a moment. "I should have done the right thing earlier," she said. "But yes, Detective Marisol Fuentes, 12 years in financial crimes, the kind of investigator who communicated exclusively in precise questions and never once reacted to anything you told her with an expression that indicated surprise, was assigned to the case. She called me 3 times over 4 weeks, each call methodical, each one extracting a specific piece of the timeline that she slotted into a file I never fully saw but could imagine. At our last call, she told me the DA's office was reviewing the documentation for criminal fraud charges, and that I should expect a civil proceeding timeline from Renata's office as a parallel track. "Will it hold?" I asked her. "Ms. Lucia," she said, "your documentation is cleaner than most cases I see from professional investigators." A pause. "You should consider a career change." I thanked her and did not tell her I had 9 years of practice. "The apartment is mine." That is the clearest sentence I know how to write about the outcome, and the one that matters most. The fraudulent loans are the subject of ongoing civil proceedings that I will not fully detail here because they are not finished. But Renata's injunction froze the instruments within 3 weeks of filing. The apartment was formally removed from collateral status, and Valentina has slept in her bedroom every night without knowing that any of this happened, which is the outcome I built the entire file for. Adrian retained an attorney. I know the attorney's name, and I know enough about his practice area to understand that Adrian is not going to have an easy time with what he is facing. I don't spend much time thinking about Adrian. I think about Valentina, about how she asks for her grandmother sometimes, and how Carmen comes on Wednesday afternoons now, not Sundays that felt like too much to reconstruct, and sits on the floor and does puzzles with her, and how the two of them have a dynamic that I have chosen, carefully, and with Renata's guidance, not to disrupt, because my daughter did not do anything wrong, because she is 3 years old, because love, even complicated love, even love that made a terrible mistake in a bedroom at 2 in the morning, is still worth something when it shows up honestly afterward. Carmen has never asked me for forgiveness. I respect that. Forgiveness is mine to offer when I'm ready, not hers to request on a timeline that suits her. She seems to understand this. We are not friends. We are 2 women who were on the same side of something, in the end. There is a box on the shelf in my closet. It contains copies of everything. The full documentation set, duplicated per Renata's instructions, and stored separately from the originals. I keep it because I am a paralegal and I keep documentation. I keep it because Valentina will be old enough to understand some of this someday, and I want to be able to show her, if she needs to see it, that her mother did not simply absorb the damage. I keep it because it reminds me of the night I lay perfectly still in my own bed and waited. Because I had learned from years of reading case files and watching people fight for the lives they deserved that patience is not the same as passivity, that quiet is not the same as small, that the most powerful thing in a room, sometimes, is the person who already knows the ending and is simply giving the story time to get there. He thought silence meant I didn't know. The envelope in my drawer knew everything, and when the moment came, it spoke for both of us.